Blue Beetle is another in a long line of underperforming DC films. We got Black Adam, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash, and now this. The sad part is, Blue Beetle isn't a half-bad movie, a whole lot better than what Marvel is putting out lately. No, Blue Beetle is just a film that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's nothing particularly unique about Blue Beetle. The film mimics that stereotypical superhero movie formula that Marvel had perfected back in the 2010s. It's largely predictable, our hero resembles a cut-rate Iron Man, and the plot relies on a number of coincidences to move forward. All that being said, it's really not a bad movie. It's fun, with a strong, albeit largely unknown lead. The humor isn't bad, possesses a strong family element. Hell, the family's probably the best part of the whole film. But this isn't a review. I want to talk about where DC Studios is at and why this film likely doesn't stand a chance at turning a profit, and what's happened with the superhero genre as a whole. Blue Beetle went into pre-production in 2018, long before James Gunn took over creative control as co-CEO of DC Studios. So while Gunn spoke highly of this film, along with The Flash and Shazam and so on, this movie isn't a part of Gunn's plan for his overarching DC Studios. That being said, while Gunn's creative role in the production of Blue Beetle was minimal, he did confirm that Blue Beetle will officially be the first superhero of DC Studios' revamped cinematic universe. James Gunn, along with Peter Safran, took over as co-CEOs of DC Studios in late 2022. This decision came with a lot of big changes, such as Gunn's decision not to cast Henry Cavill in his 2025 Superman film. This led fans to assume that all of the characters we had become familiar with, such as Ben Affleck's Batman and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, would not be returning as well. Given some comments Affleck made in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, it's likely we won't see him returning as Batman. However, Gal Gadot recently announced her return to the role for a third film. So who the hell knows what's really going on? All we know for sure is James Gunn has a plan. It may not be a good plan, but a plan nonetheless. James Gunn's role in this so-called new cinematic universe actually does give me some hope for the future of this genre. When he announced his upcoming DC slate for 2025 being coined Chapter 1, he got a lot of heat online for the projects he's choosing to adapt. Projects such as The Authority, Creature Commandos, Waller, and others had fans asking, why? Why choose these largely unknown characters? While we can't read James Gunn's mind, it's worth mentioning that he does have a track record for turning lesser-known characters into stars. The Guardians of the Galaxy, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. With the right marketing and the right style, I'm confident he can turn any character into a star. The problem is that, while the market has been getting oversaturated with superhero content, movies like Blue Beetle fall by the wayside. When fans can turn on the TV and every other option on streaming is superhero-related, why take the time to go to the theater and check out this latest one? To many, it's all just the same thing. That being said, I do think Warner Bros. Is on the right track in a lot of ways. David Zaslav was hired on as CEO of Warner Bros. Discovery back in 2021, and he quickly began slashing projects left and right. He even slashed some projects that were already finished, such as Batgirl, but not Blue Beetle, not Shazam. The company was known to be having money troubles at the time and needed a big change, and Zaslav stated that he wished to return to franchises. The properties that made Warner Bros. Successful in the first place: Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, DC, investing in less risky projects, which is practically what every production company is doing at the moment. Just look at all the Disney remakes. They're mostly garbage, yet due to brand recognition, they make money. The Aladdin remake made $1 billion. The Lion King remake, $1.6 billion. And when they put out something that isn't a remake, like an original story, Strange World, $73 million. Turning Red, only $20 million. And these movies have huge budgets, so Disney takes an enormous loss when they don't perform. Now, to be fair, Strange World and Turning Red were not good films, but neither was the Lion King remake or the Little Mermaid remake, and they still made oodles of money. My point is, with movie ticket sales down nearly 50% since 2018, production companies aren't willing to take risks on original stories. People will show up to watch movies like Barbie because the title is Barbie. People will show up to watch the Star Wars remakes even though they are god-awful because they slap the name Star Wars on the title screen. I'm not going to argue that Blue Beetle was an incredible story that only failed because of lack of brand recognition. It failed for a number of reasons, but I can almost guarantee if a movie like this came out 10 years ago, it would have been a massive hit. It checked all the boxes for a typical run-of-the-mill superhero movie. Not to mention, it only had a budget of $100 million. That's still a huge budget, but when compared to some of Marvel's films' $200, $300 million budgets for their superhero content, it's not half bad. As I touched on earlier, Warner Bros. Is a company that's very money conscious at the moment. It may not look like it at the moment given all the recent DC flops, but remember, most of these films were in post-production or finished by the time Zaslav took over as CEO of the company. And all of them were finished when Gunn took over as CEO of DC Studios. Gunn's made a number of promising remarks in regards to his takeover of DC Studios that give me faith that he may just be able to bring this genre back. He's been a writer, actor, director, and producer. He's been in Hollywood for over 30 years and has a tremendous amount of respect for the creative process. Comments such as, quote, "I'm a writer at heart, and we're not going to be making movies before the screenplay is finished," end quote, show me that not only does he understand more about the creative process than most executives, he's seen this type of thing firsthand, and the negative effects it can have on the final product, i.e. Marvel. Many fans interpreted this comment as a subtle dig at Marvel, given that he had recently finished up working on Guardians 3 and had spent a lot of time working at Marvel in general. Either way, regardless of these comments, I don't think Warner Bros. Ever put all their eggs into the Blue Beetle basket, or the Shazam Fury of the Gods basket for that matter. I remember when the first Shazam movie came out, I saw ads everywhere. The sequel? I barely even knew was happening. 2 Fridays back, when I was looking at movie times, I saw Blue Beetle and had no idea it was even coming out. You can typically take the budget of a film, double that budget, and determine how much they spent on marketing. This was certainly not the case for Blue Beetle. Even though Blue Beetle is supposed to be the first hero in James Gunn's newly imagined DC, it seems they didn't bank on it being a success. So why exactly did it fail? Well, since I failed to mention this earlier, I might as well say that as of writing this film is sitting at a box office of $25 million, and that's just opening weekend. Now that people actually know this film exists, it's likely to make more money, but very unlikely to break even. The superhero genre has become oversaturated with content, and something is going to have to give if this genre is going to have a triumphant return. Even Marvel movies have gotten to the point where they aren't guaranteed to make money. Ant-Man Quantumania had a budget of $200 million, and with a box office of $470 million and knowing how much Disney spends on marketing, it's unlikely that film turned a profit. The Eternals lost money for Disney as well. Disney Plus is absolutely hemorrhaging money. So point, superhero movies aren't guaranteed to profit anymore. And given that Blue Beetle is a largely unknown character, most people will likely just wait till it comes out on Max to check it out, or just ignore it altogether. If it had come out 10 years ago, it likely would have been a banger, in terms of success at least. The film doesn't have any draws in terms of casting. George Lopez is probably the biggest star in the film, and that's saying something. Fans of Cobra Kai will recognize Zolomar Aduena. I'm not saying that a film needs a star-studded cast to be a success, but given the lack of draw in other regards, it certainly played a role. Lack of marketing didn't help. Maybe I just didn't see any of the ads, but I spend a lot of time on the internet, YouTube especially, and I'm sure that the AI internet robots that track everything I look at know that I have a general interest in superhero content. So the fact that I wasn't saturated with ads for this film tells me that costs were cut in terms of marketing for this movie. And it's DC. DC Studios, or formerly the DCEU, or whatever the hell it was called, has not earned our dollar. It was a mess from the start. The trying to copy Marvel but as fast as humanly possible, trying to set up a team as big as the Avengers without taking the proper time to earn that trust with fans and get us acquainted with your characters, and then the rest of the disjointed universe not knowing what films connected with which, and basically just what the hell was going on at all. It was never quite there, and if DC Studios, and this genre for that matter, hope to win back fans, changes will need to be made. Well, that's the video, everybody. Please subscribe. I really love making these and I'd like to keep making them, so please subscribe and like the video. If you want to support the channel in a more intimate way, consider becoming a member, and if you stuck around this long, I thank you for watching. Have a great day.